What up, YouTube? It's me, artisanmc, and I figured I'd come back to you guys and finish off this story about the one of my Thunderbolts and the anima connection because I didn't realize the last part of the video or the recording had gotten messed up so badly, and I'm a perfectionist in training. Yeah, round two right now, Aquateki. Round two starts now. I I don't like that, but I don't have time to edit that video. But I wanted to put it up for you guys today while everything was still fresh in my mind because I have a lot of thoughts during the day, and I try to get those out there as quick as possible to you guys before the next, slew comes in, and I'm running with those. So, and I'm currently out in the city. Hello. I'm out in the city about to get me some sushi. You got a date, so I'm gonna get out here and get some sushi and some conversation. Nice woman, but I had a couple minutes because I'm early. I don't get places late. I got shit to do. So I thought I'd finish the story out. So the story I was sharing was about my thunderbolt, who I'll call D or alligator, right? And there's a reason I call it alligator or gator, but that's my affectionate pet name. I give people names. I just do, right. So part of the video, the previous video where it stopped, was that I'm on the road with her to Nebraska, and I'm coming out of Nevada, going into Utah, and I look over to my left, and I see these mesas, and I recognize them immediately. Recognized them immediately. I had never been there before. I had never been on that stretch of road before. None of that. None of that had happened. But I'm recognizing it. And what it was is that I'm recognizing it from the dream that I had months before, almost a year before, right? I'm recognizing it. And as I'm having that realization and I turn around to look at her, she's asleep in the passenger seat next to me. I recognize it from the dream. This is the dream. I'm in the moment that happened in that dream, right? Yeah, I'm like, we back. And once I recognized it for what it was, that feeling of deja vu is I've seen this before. I just stroked her head while she was sitting there in the seat and woke her up. And we had a little conversation about it, that I had this moment of deja vu, that I knew I was supposed to be here. Didn't know how it was going to play out because I try to be pragmatic about some of this stuff. Some stuff you don't want to give voice to that happens in your dream because it could be negative, and you could be bringing that upon yourself. You could be making that your future. But talking to her about it, I told her I didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But I know I was supposed to be here, and I'm at this point. The point passed 2 minutes ago, so now it's all undiscovered country at this point. You want a Star Trek reference? It's all undiscovered country. I don't know what the rest of this is going to be. Now, that trip ended up being a very deep trip, I'd say, for us in our relationship together, because we talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of emotional, heartfelt stuff. And mind you, we're both with different people at this point. I'm married. She's in a relationship with this guy she having some trouble with or whatever. She got these kids and all the rest of the stuff. But we are still able to talk with affection for each other and a respect for each other in their situation. So we're able to give each other that feedback from a real place, and not, I'm trying to get your ass, I'm trying to get this booty. It's not that. It wasn't that at all, right? But this was the trip that I told you guys I had my most scary experience driving, which was driving through, what was it, Kansas, whatever the fuck it was, in the middle of the night and trying to figure out how would you know if a tornado crossed the road in the middle of the night. That's on the trip that it happened. But understanding that, understanding how I met her, understanding the relationship that I had with her, and what she brought out of me is why I know that was one of those Thunderbolt moments. And that's only one. There's three of them off the top of my head. There's three off the top of my head. Two being Latinas, one being a sister. I just know. I know it. I know it. You know what they say, balls to bones. Can't tell me anything different. But I also know when my anima has spoken to me about those people and clue me into what's going on with me. Because my crazy ex was my anima. That could kind of be considered a thunderbolt moment, kind of. But I just knew from what I was getting on the inside, this chick is into me. And that's why I was really trying to make the distinction with the brothers on BGS's platform about it's not a sexual thing and it's not an instant attraction thing. It's something different than that. Because for me, Crazy X was an attraction thing. I picked up on her wavelength. I knew she was interested. And watching her, seeing her do what she did, she knew I was interested too. And she was doing things to keep piquing my interest. She was trying to get me to approach her. And I knew it. There was no doubt in my mind that I could get her. None. And if I showed you guys a picture of her, y'all be like, God damn, because that's what she looks like. But I knew it right off the bat. And that relationship was tumultuous. Tumultuous. Liberal was trying to claim me as a conservative, all this shit that you would think is completely unattractive to each other. Kept a filthy house, all this shit. But this other part, she played with my dark side too much, and that was fun. And it was a bit for your own self-preservation, you need to get away. That's what it was. That's just what it was. Wasn't that she wasn't a decent chick, she was. But she had her own damage. Some severe shit, right? She had her own damage. And that dark side play can be entertaining for some time, but you have to know when to pull yourself back. So to get back to Gator, it was a loss to me in a sense when I disconnected from her. In a sense that was a two-way thunderbolt that we both had. The one-way thunderbolt was with my friend Lady, who I've known for 30 years. I just talked to her the other day because she's a lawyer. I called her for some legal advice. I did. Because we're that cool. We don't have to see each other all the time for me to know that she has a part of me I will never get back. And whatever the fuck she need, if she called me, I'm going to help her ass out. She's going to get it. Not because we ever fucked, not because she ever said she was undyingly in love with me. None of that shit. None of it. It's just I know what she meant to me. And I know what I did to make sure I maintained that relationship, taking whatever route I had to, because that was the one who taught me about platonic relationships. That's where I learned about a platonic relationship. That's it. Like I say, you guys could communicate on an intimate, spiritual, and honest level that was beyond sexual. That's why the anima drew you to her. True bonding is 90% mental, 10% physical. Exactly, Malika. And I'll put that shit up there so the dumb people can read. I'm not saying y'all in here are dumb. I'm just for people on later viewings who don't know this story. Yeah, that's what it was. Look, the reason why these people stand out so much in my head is because I've known a lot of women and all of them don't come to that level. They don't. That kind of connection is few and far between. And I figured that shit out in my 20s. It has been proven more and more right every decade after that. Every decade after that, it's been proven more and more so. My current ex that we've gone back and forth with each other for years, there is a connection there too. But there's too much damage and lack of accountability that it can never be consistently good because she always bucks against it. Now that wasn't a thunderbolt moment, but it is a connection from the animus that lets you know, no, we both get each other. We are both strongly sexually attracted to each other. Strongly. That is never an issue. That is never an issue. Mentally, we're on the same wavelength, right? We could talk about the same shit, music, all the rest of that stuff. But when it gets into that interpersonal area where you have to have some emotional intelligence on how you talk to people and deal with, she has too much damage and stuff that she has not dealt with, will not deal with. And it ends up rubbing up against my understanding that, look, man, I know better than to do this shit. So I won't, and I won't tolerate it. You have to catch up or admit you're wrong. She don't want to catch up, and she doesn't want to admit that she's wrong. To the point where it's like it's beneath her to take accountability to say that she was wrong on something. That's not emotional intelligence. It's not. And I can't deal with that shit. Because if I have to be accountable, you have to be accountable. There's no such thing as a one-way accountability. Fuck that. So that just gets into how talking to your anima and stuff like that in the Thunderbolt gets there. Because with that ex, my anima and her are attuned. They are really attuned. I know what's going on with her right now if I think about her hard. If I focus some energy on what's going on with her right now, I know what's happening. I know exactly what's happening. It is not anything more than like turning a dial on a radio. Because I told you guys before, when you actually have sex with people, you exchanging fluids and essence and shit like that, you're exchanging energy. She got a part of my energy. I got a part of her energy. I know what that feeling is. When she shows up in my dreams and shit like that, I'll check on her. I will. Because I know something is going on with her. Because I'm aware enough of myself to understand a lot of this confusion and stuff is not what lives in me. It lives in the women that I deal with. Me and BGS have talked about this before, that I kind of attract that chaotic energy because I'm pretty calm. My energy is pretty evened out. It's not chaotic. And so, in the sense that they say opposites attract, yes, that chaotic energy gets drawn to you because you're calm. If you take on too much of their shit and don't know how to keep your boundaries and keep your solid rock underneath your feet, you will become chaotic as well. Relationship won't work. But if you keep your footing, hold your frame as a man in a sense, bathing your masculine a little bit more, then you can try to counteract that shit. That's why, at least in my sense, I believe a man in a relationship, it is your job to listen to a little bit of her shit. It is your job to listen to a little bit of her angst and that stuff. She has to download on somebody. It's either going to be you or some other dude trying to get in her pants. You pick. But you have to mitigate it in a sense and form it into something workable for her. Right? You have to transmute that energy. Right? One of my exes, I told her she had a lot of chaotic energy. She was a fire sign. And I told her I had gas asbestos draws. I was born in the fire. I can deal with it. But it was how to calm that shit down and get it to where we're not setting the whole fucking house on fire, but we can cook over this heat. You don't stomp it out completely. You just have to create the frame to manage that shit, to harness that heat in some kind of way. It's the same thing with women's chaotic energy. Because they are so clued in to the emotional spectrum, not to say that men aren't, they're just more hardwired to it first. That can be of benefit to you. That is how you balance each other out. If the man is more hardwired into the analytical world, the thing that is not, that is facts, figures, numbers, and shit like that, and women are more keyed into the intangible world, feelings, intuition, emotions, and that shit, the two of you are supposed to be working together then. If you weren't, you would have had all of that to yourself. It would have just been you. Since it's not, you're supposed to figure out how to work together and balance each other out. Because a male read on a situation and a female read on a situation, same situation will be completely different. If you can talk to each other and get that, you got the lay of the land. You got the complete lay of the land. Not only are you like Batman going in there like, yeah, I know this person got a broke knee, this person got some issues with this is the exits, this is how much time we got in this building. Not only do you know that, you got all the Jean Grey part is like, he's going to move first. He's scared. Such and such is not sure if he wants to be here. He has a knife in his boot. All of that shit. If you can marry those together into that balance, you have that trinity. You can be, a force to be reckoned with because it takes both sides. Then again, there's chaos that doesn't want to be tamed. Yes, Aquateki, and that's the thing. Some people, some females, understand saying feminine chaos is not like it doesn't exist in men too. Okay, every time I listen to a panel and it's a bunch of dudes that can't hold their water for 3 seconds and want to talk over other guys, what I hear is feminine chaos coming out of it. That's why they can't hold their water for 10 seconds. Everything needs a comment. Everything needs to be spoken on, even if they're not even speaking to them. Constantly diverting the conversation to another thing, that's feminine chaos. Bouncing around like a ping pong ball wherever their mind is going. That's why if you sit and listen to a woman talk that has that kind of energy, it's tiring because it's never a logical thought. It's always ping ponging all over the place. And if you sitting there trying to chase that shit around, you'll get tired because that's not how you think. That's not how your brain thinks. That is what Dr. Tia-san talks about, the emotional labor. If you sit there and let a woman download, that's the fuck you're going to be doing. You're going to be ping-ponging for a while and trying to line it all up. Okay, like you picking the winning lottery numbers. Like, okay, we got 7 of these. Let's stop here. Let's deal with these 7 before you go on for another 15 minutes about 14 other things. Let's deal with these 7 right here because this is going to be a lot. That's what it is. That's the labor that you put in. The labor ain't in having sex with them and getting them to an arousal. The labor is in being able to listen to this stuff and transmute it into something useful. Yeah, she got ass. She go to the same place I'm going. To transmute it into something useful so she can actually feel like, okay, she was heard. He gets me. And kicks off that bonding chemical on you. As opposed to her gay friend, the girlfriend that said she didn't need to be with your ass anyway. He don't listen. He don't get it. You don't. You don't. But you have to put it into some context because she's feeding that chaotic shit into a computer. The computer has to decipher that shit like any good algorithm and spit you back out something useful. All those disparate parts has to come back to, okay, so Samantha actually wants your job, and she doesn't like the fact that Liz respects your work. How'd you get all that from the bathroom conversation? It's all there. You said it all. That's what makes the most sense. That's the logic. Because she read all the emotions, she got all the emotional parts, she just don't have the logical part to put it all together. Likewise, you at a business meeting or something, or just dealing with some people at a party, and you got a good chick that you guys have a good rapport like that, she'll tell you, that motherfucker scheming on you. Right, why you say that? You just saying that because he ain't paying no attention to you. No, that motherfucker scheming on you. The fact that he's not paying attention means that he's really interested. Because when he was over there on the other side of the room, he brushed past so-and-so and says, whisper some shit to them. He was doing such and such. He was in your face, and while you were talking to so-and-so, he was looking you up and down like he don't like your ass. Watch him. Me and ex-wifey had that kind of rapport that's what we would do. We would check in with each other. We're both fucking Scorpios. She's more emotional, I'm more analytical. We could work a room like that. Because she's the social butterfly, everybody was focused on her. She's a Scorpio, natural sexuality, all of that shit. People are really attuned to her. They're focused on her. While everybody is focused on her, I'm reading everybody. Because I don't want everybody focused on me. I'm observing them. And that's what we would have when we have our powwows and we sit down and we eating our food and having our drink and talking and shit. That's what the fuck we'd be talking about. And what I would give her analytically is how to test what I was seeing and saying. This is how you test it. If you go over and say this, I bet she'll see what happens. She'll probably do this, that, and the other. That's the analytical, strategic, chess master thinking. Scientific. This is the theory that I have from what I've seen out there. This is how you can test it to test that theory. See if I'm right or wrong. I'm just curious. My percentages are pretty good. And no one said ping ponging is right, trying to follow the damn bouncing ball. And that's usually what I do. When I get too much of that chaotic energy, when I hit my feel of dealing with it, I get what some of my exes call robotic. I get purely analytical. I go straight fucking data, nigga. Fuck it, it's just this. Because I've had my fill of it. I can only take so much. And that's when you have to know your boundaries. I can listen to so much of this, but you got to contain some of this shit. Because some days I don't have the patience for it. You're going to have to understand. You're going to have to understand me the same way I'm understanding you. I understand you need to download today, but I also understand I ain't fucking got it today for that. I don't. I'm in my full masculine. I might be in all Scorpio mode. It might be Dark Scorpius all over this bitch. I'm not in the mood for none of that shit. It might be just anger and rage today. Look, it might be a flame fest. I might tell you some shit that'll crush your soul, make you not trust me again. It is what the hell it is. You have to read me the same way I'm reading you. The problem is I don't find a lot of women who can do that read. Because, like we talk about in this space a lot, they usually don't care to develop it. It's not that they can't, they just don't care to. They don't actually know men if their pants ain't down. They don't know men at all. They know males. They don't know men. That's why one of my fucking, dating questions is tell me about your relationship. Do you like your father? And how do you feel about it? Because that's going to tell me a lot. That's going to tell me almost everything I need to know. Because it's going to tell me how she's going to react to me. If she's going to be really argumentative, if she's not going to be able to take fucking direction, if she's going to have an issue with male sense of dominance or chivalry or whatever that shit is, she's going to have an issue because she doesn't know how to deal with that shit. She's going to be really perplexed with dealing with me because it's going to seem like the weirdest thing in the world, like I dropped off the spaceship 10 minutes ago. She's not going to understand, especially if I'm telling them I'm not worried about having sex with you. That's the last thing on my mind. That really fuck them up because then they'll want to test it to see, well, I can take it away from you. You can do what the hell you want to. There's other women out here if I want to just fuck. There is. It's not going to keep me. It's not going to make me stay. It's not. Your personality is, though. And my anima is what's going to be cluing me in to all the rest of that stuff. Because going about meeting women that way is talking with my anima a lot. And getting to read from her on this motherfucker. That's who I'm listening to. Perfect scenario, sitting there talking with a chick, yeah, I can look her in the eyes. Analytically, I'm reading all her body language. Emotionally, anima is sitting there running her through. That's bullshit. Okay, there's something there. She a little squishy on that. She didn't say this, so that's what's all that's happening while I'm sitting there having a conversation. Yeah, there's jokes and shit like that thrown in there, but those are all tests. Those are all psychological tests to see where they soft, where they firm, all that shit on. And I ain't no huge fucking ladies man. I just understand shit. I just understand shit. One of the things I understand is I can get on a real good emotional level with a chick, or she'd be telling me all kind of shit about her life. Past traumas, all that shit. I can get there. I know this. It's not an issue. But I also can get in there and get to really fucking with them if I wanted to. That was the joke me and BGS was having about me being a true Sith. That I will get in there and fuck up your psychology. I will. You don't want me climbing up in your head. Because I'll get in there and shift your whole paradigm if I'm on some bullshit. But I try to use my powers for good. Jedi in the streets, Sith in the sheets. That's when the dark side come out. Just what the fuck it is. Just what the fuck it is. Toya being funny. The Thunder Tank. I like that. I like that, Gabriel. The Thunder Tank. I'll let Charles hear you saying that. Panthro was always one of my favorite Thundercats. Tigra and Panthro. Tiger and Panthro. Chitara was just hot. So it's about 1:30. I got a 2 o'clock. So I need to go ahead and get off of here. But I just wanted to finish out that story and let you guys know that final piece to that. Since I went down memory lane thinking about that Thunderbolt stuff, I did reach out to D. I did reach out to D and just let her know, hey, I was remembering you fondly today. How are you doing? Will she respond back? I don't fucking know. It doesn't actually matter. It doesn't actually matter. But I don't have a problem letting things be known. And that also throws women the fuck off. They don't know how to deal with that shit because that's direct. As much as women talk about liking truth and honesty, they do not know how to deal with that shit. They are not ready for 100% truth. They cannot handle it. I know this because I've tested it. Now, maybe it's just the women in my life. They can't handle 100% truth. 75 to 80 is good for them. That's about it. They're going to make up the rest anyway. Paint it with insecurities and everything else. And so it don't even matter. They're going to listen to that shit more than they listen to you anyway. But that also gets into a relationship with a father. That's why they never want to listen to what you tell them, because they don't have a relationship with a father figure. a secure male figure that wasn't trying to get in their pants. That's why you need to know that shit. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys for coming through, listening to my bullshit on this. And mind you, this is just my opinion. It's my philosophy on the anima, the Thunderbolt, and interpersonal dynamics between males and females. Um, I've told you guys before, I always strive for balance, which means you need both. You need a good understanding of your masculine side. You need a good understanding of your feminine side. And you need to figure out how to synergize them two together to be the best, most truest version of yourself. So you can use those powers for yourself without having to rely on somebody outside of you to help you do it. You got to learn. Like Lavaris asked me earlier, is it easy to talk to your animal? It is like working out. It's a muscle. You have to train it. You have to work on it. It's nothing that you just pick up one day and say, oh yeah, man, I've been doing that forever. Then you would know what the fuck we was talking about. No, you haven't. Knowing somebody's dark side is not knowing all of them. I know a few people's dark sides, but I also know their light side. I also know what kind of drives them. And I help keep them on that path. That's it. But I'm not scared of their dark side either. That's where I think their real bond with me comes from. I'm not thrown by their dark side because I can show them very quickly I'm a lot darker. I'm a lot darker. So that's it. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. And if you thought this shit was useful, share it with somebody else and have a conversation with them. Maybe you'll find out some shit you didn't know about people. I've been artisanmc, and this is just my philosophy on the anima, the Thunderbolts, and the learn. Peace.